the recusal of the judge actually benefited him more than it did my daughter. It did not benefit my daughter at all, because all of a sudden they were not to talk about anything that she had presented in court.
Yeah.
And they gave my daughter the illusion that now we're starting all new with this judge. We're not going to talk about what you said in court.
It's
to that
all
other
smoke
judge.
and mirrors. And they keep on billing.
Right.
They keep on billing $150,000.
Right.
But with your daughter, you've talked about how, when she even hears the word, thinks about it, how she breaks out.
Oh my God. The last time, well, not the last time, maybe 2 or 3 previous hearings, she showed me pictures. She says, Mom, you want to see something really unusual? Her face, she breaks out into hives.
Yeah.
Just maybe like the day before.
Yeah.
And then I says, keep those pictures, because that's evidence of what the court is doing to you.
Yeah.
Then they erupt, and they actually looked like volcanoes with white paws, like craters all over her face, her neck, and her arms and chest. I had never seen anything like it. I could hardly look at them.
Yeah.
Their rash actually broke out in pussy white craters.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And people think that some of the stuff we're talking about, oh, you'll just get on with it, just move on with your life, forget about it.
Oh, yes.
But the long-term effects and all of this stuff is needless. And the corruption is so deep. Yeah.
I mean, family court is the only court that just never stops.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? It can go on for 10, 15, 18 years, you name it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I mean, you find out at the same time that, you can be doing nothing whatsoever, and all of a sudden you're dragged back in, and it's costing you more thousands of dollars just for nonsense.
The biggest injustice, though, is to the children.
The biggest injustice is to the children.
Yes, because the children, who speaks for them?
Right.
How do they handle their PTSD?
Yeah.
Because they definitely have it, their trauma.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter's got PTSD. PTSD.
Right.
I have it too. Just by watching my daughter and my granddaughter go through this.
Yeah.
How do they deal with that? I mean, we know how to get resources. We go online trying to figure out how to relax, but how does a child do that?
Yeah, and that's
who misses her, parent.
Yeah.
And my daughter and my granddaughter were very, very tight. Believe me.
Yeah.
Because she was the only one that really nurtured my granddaughter as well as she did. I mean, her grandfather loves her. His father loves her, but if he really loved her, he would not let his son do what he's doing to the child.
Right.
Before the divorce, he used to make my daughter hide in a room when he was with family, so that the child would not be tempted to go and sit with her mother, so that this way the family could just have access to the child without the mother's interruption. So he used to make my daughter hide in a different room so that she would not be around her child when they were together with family. So it's child abuse by proxy.
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
I've been fighting for grandparent rights too, but we have to be honest that some grandparents are abusive. Even some of the grandparents who would profess such love for their grandchildren are abusive.
Yes, I mean, I have to say that the grandfather is not doing anything for the child.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, they don't love my granddaughter as far as I'm concerned. They really don't. Because if they did, my daughter says to me to this day, she says, Mom, if I had custody of her, she would see her father anytime she wants to, and they could see her anytime they want to.
So it's very interesting that you're saying that. I have not seen my grandchildren now for over 3 years.
Oh my goodness.
And what happened is that I had been, actually my wife was watching my older grandson when my younger grandson was in the hospital. I came back down here. Children's Protective Services got involved because they thought that my daughter was guilty of either actual or potential abuse or neglect because he was in the hospital. Somehow in that whole thing, I got blamed for it. My daughter sued me, filed a false police report against me.
Oh my goodness.
Tried to file a protective order against me. My ex-wife got up on the stand and lied. Now, at no time ever, I always encouraged my kids to have a relationship
Right.
You know, when we got divorced, I told my son, I said, listen, I know what it's like, because when my parents got divorced, I hated it. I hated it for years. 30 years after the divorce, I hated it. And I thought it's not fair that he should have to go through those things that I hated for so many years. I said, if you ever have to have a choice between seeing me and your mother, I said, you should never have that conflict. Go ahead and see your mother.
They shouldn't.
Right.
Right.
And I said, you know, you can tell me, you know, but I said, you never have to have that conflict. I do not want you to have that conflict. And yet, with my grandchildren, this is, my ex-wife kicked my daughter out of the house when she was pregnant with the first child. I don't know if she actually kicked them out, but my other daughter said that she kicked her out. And then when my second grandchild was born, month and a half old, she kicked them out of the house again. Now she has 2 children. She's unmarried, has 2 children.
Oh, that's sad.
Kicks them out of the house. I mean, I was the one who signed an apartment lease for her. I had a house at the time. I said, you know, you can stay there if you'd like to. You know, she thought about doing that, but instead I signed on the apartment lease for her. She had a car that she wrecked. I gave her a car to use. She wrecked that one. The car that I'm driving right now is actually the car that I bought for her.
And things just escalate to,
I know.
to out of control.
Right.
You know,
but,
in these
but,
situations.
But then the CPS thing comes up, and my ex-wife got up on the stand. And this is when I said that she committed perjury. My ex-wife would not watch the kids because she just quit watching the kids. And I was watching the kids, and Karen and I were watching the kids, you know, sometimes up to 5 times a week, all the time. Loved it, though, because I got to see them. Just loved them. And they said that the kids were not safe with me, and that somebody like me, I might kill somebody, and then it would be too late. You know, and I would never would have said anything like that.
Of course not. Yeah.
But you know, it gets so crazy, and that's why I said I went to the judge.
It goes out of control.
Yeah. And you know, so right now I have not seen my grandchildren for almost 3.5 years. I will tell you that my youngest grandson, I'm not sure that he would have died, but he could have suffered some long-term mental issues, because he was not growing. He was like 13 pounds and 5 ounces, and he was 5.5 months old. And Karen would see me, because I'd be at home crying, and I said, what do I do? What do I do? I said, if I take him down to the hospital or take him to the doctors, they're going to get mad at me, and they're never going to let me see them.
You've done something.
Right. And then, of course, CPS would say, well, just call CPS, so that they could take the kids, because that's their default mode. And CPS threw me under the bus, as far as I'm concerned. And then, and my other grandson, my older grandson, when she was pregnant with him, my ex-wife was trying to get her to put my grandson up for adoption. I have all the messages. Well, we can have her, you know, she had an adoption agency picked out. There's a home in Fort Worth. And I talked with Stephanie. I said, Stephanie, it's going to be hard, but I said, I'll be there to help you however I can. And to me, selfishly, it was my grandson. I don't want to lose my grandson. But here's my ex-wife trying to force my daughter to put up my older grandson for adoption. And then as far as the younger grandson, there were medical things that, I cannot tell you how many different things I paid for. I didn't pay the money that you paid. I didn't have that much type of money, but I mean, anything that I could, I sacrificed to make sure that they were taken care of. And then they fabricate a story about how the kids were not safe around me.
Oh, yes.
And I mean, that's what I tried to take her to court for.
And they set you up too, you know, so that,
you
know, they try to make you look bad.
Right. And I'll tell you, you know, these are respectable church people.
Oh, tell me about it.
And and her mother was a missionary in Mexico, and her father, and I supported them financially. And they lied. My ex-mother-in-law produced correspondence that contained lies, and I'm like, this was crazy.
Well,
and,
you know, it's a farce. When a person says I'm a Christian, that really means you're Christlike. And please don't tell me you're Christlike
when you
act and you do the kind of things you do. You're abusing a child by depriving a child of
Yeah.
a loving parent and their
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is happening. And I know that they just came in to get you. Thank you
Yes,
so much.
they're-
Rosa,
yes.
thank you
They're
so much.
all out there.
I wish I could talk with you for hours here.
Oh, this is still on, right?
It's still on right now, but I
Okay.
just want to
Well,
say thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Your story
Thank you.
is
Again, I wish I was better prepared. I would have had an outline to make sure
No,
I had the right dates and the right events.
I
But
know.
to the best of my recollection,
Yeah.
being unprepared, there's so much more, of course.
I know, of course. We all know
read a
that.
book, right?
Right,
But
exactly.
again, it's my grandchild
Yeah.
that I'm really concerned about because she's suffering.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and you can't say anything to them,
Yeah. Yeah. And then exactly.
Yeah, my daughter says I want her to think everything is normal, but
It's not normal.
it's not normal.
It's far from normal. So thank you very much.
Thank you.